Moving on to the timber defects. Uh, no tree is perfect. All trees are subjected to some form of defect. And then these defects can be natural, which are present naturally in a growing tree, or they can be artificial or mechanical, which are due to the processes we've just seen now, or just mishandling the timber. Do you guys think the timber is still usable with the defects? Yes, but then the defects in timber can affect strength. They also affect the appearance and durability of it. They can also affect the economic value of the timber, but it is still usable. And in fact, some people like the natural defects showing in the products, in the finished products as well. So some types of natural defects include check, checks, splits, shakes, and knots. And then by definition, the check is when the timber or wood splits perpendicular to the growth ring, and then a shake is when it splits parallel to the growth ring, and a split simply means just split across through and through, um, separation of the wood fibers. Then the typical knots would be such as that. Those are the common ones. There's many other types of defects, such as this ones, as a result of animals damaging the trees, and the wood soiling because of being subjected to too much wood subjected to too much moisture. And then yeah, there's this many other ones just for interest's sake. Then in terms of properties, this is the what makes these different types of wood applicable and suitable for whatever applications we need, that we're looking for. So just to run quickly through this, it gives you it's just a list of different types of timber and the typical applications, which are a result of properties depending on the source of the timber, source of the wood, which can include the growth of the tree itself, or how the cutting was done, or how the seasoning was done, or the preservation, or in the case of man-made ones, the type of glue that they have in there that they used. So it gives you certain properties that make it suitable for specific applications. So that was the whole point of this exercise. Then, in general, when you think of wood compared to other types of material like maybe concrete or metals or polymers or composites, so wood is unique in that it is strong in tension, which is parallel to the grain, and it is a bit ductile. The, in terms of application, if it's strong in tension, you would think of what is the loading capacity of a product that I'm making. If it's intended to carry weight, then you would design or apply wood in such a way that the grain, the tension is going to be applied parallel to the grain. That way, you getting the most out of it. This is where I was getting with this. So try and think of the wood properties in terms of how you would use them in your products. Like, is there anything that attracts you about wood being ductile? Or would you look for a specific stiffness in the wood or dimensional change with temperature? Is it suitable? What kind of application would you think of that will make it suitable? Because this wood gives you the, the gives you those properties. So then, in general, the advantages of wood, or in addition to this, it would be things like wood is renewable, it's machinable, it has good strength to weight ratio, and what else? It will not rust. Uh, yeah, there's many advantages of wood compared to other materials. There's a range of products that you can make out of wood as well, as we know, giving different aesthetics. But wood also has some disadvantages, like it is prone to bending, it is likely to bend, and it can decay, it can hold moisture. So, those are the typical disadvantages. And it's got volumetric instability as well, and many more. So, there are more advantages and there are more disadvantages. So, it depends on your choice or your desires or in service applicability or of your products. What are the typical factors that determine how it behaves that way? It will be things like the species, because there are different types of trees, like we saw the different classes. They will determine how the wood behaves. It will be the moisture condition, it will be the defects, orientation of load to the grain, and many other ones. Then moving on to the timber deterioration and decay, there are several types and causes of timber deterioration, but all this can be classified into natural defects, biological defects, or mechanical defects. And then I've listed some examples under each class or under each category, which you can go through them as well, but you need to know these types of defects. So, based on you knowing now the types of defects, how do you control decay? You would control decay by limiting the the oxygen content in the wood. You do that by if you were to use wood where it's going to be in contact with water, it is better to submerge it in water as opposed to having half of it in water and half not in water, because at the water line, that's where it's going to suffer, because if you submerge it, there's no oxygen. But at the watermark, there will be oxygen, then that's where the microbes will live and insects, and wood will decay there. The second reason would be you can control it by depriving these insects of the moisture. Do not make it palatable for them. So if it doesn't have moisture, or if you treat it, it leaves no room for them to live. It's not a good place for them to live. This one, it would have been interesting to have it face to face, or at least all of us live online, because it's a good point to to have a class discussion and um, hear you guys counter argue with your experiences and your beliefs or whatever in when we're talking about sustainability considerations, because we will be talking about things like climate change when it comes to timber and all that. And then I have just a few pointers that I would be using as the points of discussion if it was face to face. So I'll just go quickly through this, and maybe we'll get a chance to get together and discuss this um, sustainability issues and economical impacts. So, yeah, or it could be, if it's in a test, it would be something that is more of an open ended question. I think we had one like that with polymers as well, in terms of polymer recycling issues and all that. So this would be similar to that, where you guys say your opinions about sustainability. That brings us to the end of this content. Hopefully, you guys will pass the test. It's a straightforward content. So, thank you guys.